Hi guys, I am Limark Emmanuel J. Hangaw of BSPT-1A. Today, we will be talking about the external anatomy of class Mammalia. We will be using two specimens. Specimen A is for lower forms, or specifically a cat, and specimen B is about the human body or the human anatomy. Also, focus your attention below so that you will see the illustrations of the specimen A and specimen. Today, we will have three topics, namely directional terms, planes, and axes. Now, let's begin. First is directional terms. We have anterior, cephalic, or cranial. It is the parts of the body towards the head end of specimen A or specimen B. But for human body or specimen B, it is called superior. Posterior or caudal, it is referring to the tail end of the specimen A or referring to the coccyx of the specimen B. Dorsal, it is applicable for lower forms or specimen A. It is the back or upper side of the specimen A, but in human body, it is also called as posterior. Ventral, it is also applicable for lower forms or specimen A. It is the front or the underside of the specimen A, but in human body, it is also called as anterior. Lateral, it is located at the upper or lower part of the body as long as it is seen at the right side or left side of the body. Median, any structure located at the middle. Central, it is part of a system near the middle, slightly similar to median, but more specific. Peripheral is a part nearest the surface. Actually, mostly organs of the body are near the surface. Proximal, compare of two joints who is near the body or the mass of the body. Example, we have the shoulder joint and the elbow joint. Shoulder joint is the proximal because it is near the body or the mass of the body. Distal. Now, it is comparing of two joints which is opposite from the proximal or comparing from the farthest from the body or main body. Example, shoulder joint and elbow joint. Elbow joint is distal because it is away from the body or the main body. Superficial or ectal. It is on or near the surface. When we are dissecting an animal or a specimen or human body, the first thing that is being exposed is the superficial. Deep or ental, it is below or underneath the surface. It is under the superficial muscle being exposed when we are dissecting. Superior, applicable for specimen B. It is located at the upper extremities or upper parts of the body. Inferior, it is also applicable for specimen B. It is the lower extremities or the lower parts of the body. Example, when we are comparing the head and the neck, head is the superior and neck is the inferior. Now, when we are comparing the neck and the hips, the neck is the superior and the hips is the inferior. Now, let's proceed to the second topic, which is the planes.
Median or mid-sagittal.
A vertical plane dividing the body into two identical left and right halves or bilateral. Sagittal is the opposite of median or mid-sagittal. It is a vertical plane dividing the body into two from left or right but in equal parts. Horizontal or frontal, it is dividing the body horizontally. Example, specimen A, when we cut, it exposes the dorsal and the ventral. Specimen B, when we cut, it exposes the front or the posterior. Lastly, we have transverse or cross. It is dividing of the parts in a cross-section manner. Example, for specimen A, when we cut, it exposes the anterior and the posterior. While for the specimen B, when we cut, it exposes the superior and inferior. Now, we will have the last and third topic, which is the axis. Longitudinal or anterior-posterior. It is applicable for specimen B. Exposes or divides the anterior portion continuously to the posterior portion. That is why it is also called as anter-posterior. Sagittal or dorsoventral. Exposes or divides the dorsal portion towards or continuously to the ventral portion. That is why it is also called as dorsoventral. We have transverse or mediolateral. It is applicable for both specimens. It is a transverse plane running to the side. Example, specimen A, lateral side going to the left side. For specimen B, it is the lateral side going to the right side. That's all, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned about the external anatomy of class Mammalia with the directional terms, planes, and axes.